Guys, so topic now is something which is called as IPSec VPN. Okay, I think this is one of the topic which is the most talked about topic when it comes to this particular technology VPN. IPSec is the most talked topic about. Okay, um, any interview you take, they would like to ask questions on the IPSec. If there is any client, they would definitely have some kind of a mechanism where they are using IPSec VPN. All right. So uh, with networking, it's like networking forward slash VPN, right? Because VPN is one thing, and especially after 2020, it's the one of the most used application across the globe. Okay, so now even people who did not know about that there is something which is called as a VPN, even if they are non-technical people, accounts people, even they now know that we have a software which is called as a VPN software, and they have to connect to that particular software so that they can get access to their office resources. And a lot of people are doing their work from home just because of this technology right now. Okay, so IPsec VPN is one of the most used technology when it comes to networking or network security. Okay, now what we are going to do today is basically talk about what this is all about, and how to use it, where to implement, how to implement all these things. Okay, okay, so see, whenever we are talking about the IPsec VPN, right? So you are, as of now, you can see that there are a lot of ways. There are a lot of ways people have communicated with different locations, different branches. They have tried different various mechanisms as well. A lot initially, NAT was considered a technology that was used to access resources, which was on the other side of the network. Okay, but slowly and gradually, everyone got to know that okay, NAT is a mechanism to use, but then it is not secure. Apart from changing the IP address, it does not do anything else. No security as such, right? So this was the problem. Okay, now let me just quickly hold on. So okay, let's me yeah. Okay. Hmm. So see, whenever we are talking about this guy, the IPsec VPN, okay, what we have to understand is that a lot of times this IPsec VPN is just facilitating the source to access the destination. That's it. It doesn't do anything else. Okay, it is just making sure that the source is able to access the destination with certain additional features. What are those features? See, we have something which is called as C. Oh, hold on. So this, something is wrong, guys. Just 1 second. Okay, so we have something which is called as C, I, and A. Okay, I think we discussed this yesterday as well. That the C stands for confidentiality, the I stands for integrity, and the A stands for, nowadays it's more like authentication. Initially, it was availability. Okay, CIA is basically the three pillars on which your IPsec VPN works. Now, what is IPsec VPN? It provides confidentiality, meaning it is secure, it is safe. Integrity, it doesn't, it just makes sure that the data is not getting tampered with. and availability or authentication. That means the resource is available, plus only the legitimate user will be able to access it, nobody else. Okay, that's what it means when I say CIA, and that are the three pillars on which your IPsec VPN works. Okay, now yesterday we did discuss about different locations and multiple use cases and what is the concept and all that. So it is exactly the same. Okay, now what happens is that in this particular section of IPsec VPN, it creates a tunnel, okay, between the unsecure medium. Now we know that the ISP or the cloud that we can see, it's an unsecure medium, right? So in this unsecure medium, it will create a tunnel so that nobody on the outside or on the on the ISP side or on the internet, nobody would be able to understand that what is it that you're trying to access. Okay, as soon as it reaches the other side, which is your private network, it's unencrypted, and anybody or basically whoever the traffic is destined to, you would be able to access and um, you know uh, avail that resource that you have. Okay, now sender authenticated. So three pillars, right? Confidentiality, integrity, and authentication, right? So that's what it says over here as well, that the sender is authenticated, meaning that the sender, once the traffic reaches to the other side, it will definitely have the source IP, right? So by having the source IP, the authentication will take place that okay, that this guy is actually sending the traffic. Okay, data confidential, yes, because it is going through the the tunnel, and the tunnel is basically providing that safety and security. Data integrity, since the traffic is going inside the tunnel, nobody can tamper with it, nobody can touch it, nobody can modify it, nobody can add something to it, right? So data integrity is also being followed. Are you guys able to follow me? Yes or no in the chat box? Okay, so this is what the IPsec VPN is all about, the three pillars. Just remember the three pillars, because whenever you are in an interview, you need to know this, and you should be telling this as well, that what exactly the CIA is all about. Okay, so if anybody is, yesterday I was discussing with one of my students. He gave an interview on, I think, TCS. Sorry, BT, British Telecom. The interviewer, he was exactly, remember the Three Idiots movie, where Amir Khan was standing, and the professor was saying, what is the definition, what is the definition. So that guy was hell bent on asking the definition, what is the definition of IPsec, what is the definition of IPsec. So even when we were discussing, I told him, see, it is just one guy, it doesn't happen like this, that if you do not know the definition, you'll not be accepted. Okay, you should know the concept, you should know the technology, you should know how it works. That's what you should know. If you can just repeat one line or two line about what the technology is, that does not give you a guarantee that you know it. If your concepts are clear, if your method, if your technology, you understand the technology, if that is all okay, and then you want to learn two lines, then that's fine, that's absolutely fine. So what I'm trying to tell you over here is that companies out there, they are just handled by people. Interviewers are also people, they are also have their own mindset. So you may also get these kind of people, that whatever answer that you give or you provide, for them it may not be necessarily be acceptable. So there are times that you have to also provide some one liner or two liner. So if that's the case, do this. So what you say, the IPsec? IPsec is a set of protocols and services used to encrypt data so that it cannot be read or tampered with as it travels across the network. Two lines, yeah. It takes about 5 to 7 seconds. That's it. Okay. And what I did, 10 minutes, it was to tell you practically what exactly is the IPsec VPN. And yesterday, in the last session, we were also discussing about the VPN as a concept. So I told you that there is remote desktop, there is like site to site and all these things. So that is what the concept is all about. If you want to just know in one or two lines, this is what the IPsec VPN is all about. Now see, have you seen one? Have you noticed this? It says IPsec is a set of protocols. Set of protocols. Remember, In the last session, we discussed that IPSec or IKE is a protocol suite and it works on Oakley, Scheme, and ISACM. Remember? That's why it says protocol, set of protocols. That's why it says that. Okay. If you are in an interview, explain this as well if given a chance. All right. So it will basically make sure that so if there are 10 people, you should have some information which is not available to the other guys, right? So you should stand out a little bit. Okay, now provides authentication, yes. Confidentiality, yes. Proof the data has not been tampered, yes. The modes of operation, so one is called as the tunnel mode, the other is called as the transport mode. Okay, now tunnel mode, entire IP packet encrypted and authenticated, packet then encapsulated for routing. Okay, just read this, I'll show you what this means. Transport, only data in the packet encrypted and authenticated, header not modified or encrypted. So basically it says transport mode is where your data is encrypted, nothing else. Tunnel mode, your entire packet is encrypted. Okay, now why do we use it, where do we use it, we'll discuss this as well. Now IPSec VPN strictly operates at network layer 3. Even if somebody tries to confuse you, fool you around, no, IPSec works on layer 3. Okay. Encryption occurs transparently to the upper layers. Yes, the encryption is basically for your data, and data works on the application layer. But your IPSec is on layer 3. Okay, applications do not need to be designed to use IPSec. Absolutely correct, because applications they do not bother about what is happening on layer 3. Application talk to applications, data talks to data. That's it. For them, their job is at layer 7. What happens at layer 5, 4, 3, 2? They don't really care about that, and it's fine. That's not their job. Okay, now IPSec VPN can protect upper layer protocols such as TCP, but the complexity and the overhead of the exchange is increased. Yes, when you say that you're encrypting, remember in the last session I said there's something which is called as encapsulation. Remember that? So encapsulation is when you're adding certain additional headers. So when you're adding certain additional headers, the overhead will of course increase. Okay, for example, IPSec cannot depend on TCP to manage reliability and fragmentation. Yes. So IPSec basically does not depend on any other protocol, any other layer to do the CIA, confidentiality, integrity, and authentication. Okay. Now, when I say IP packets are encapsulated, right? Um, what I mean is that encapsulation basically happens so that the tunnel is secured. What I mean, see, for example, you have a data, okay, whatever data you have, it's an IP packet, okay. When you have this IP packet on your system, it is encrypted, right? You can see it. Maybe it's a text file, you are writing something, there's a documentation, or maybe work in progress, whatever it is. It is unencrypted, you are working on it. It's an application level, right? What happens is that when this packet needs to go out, okay, it has to convert itself to an IPsec packet. Okay, and once the conversion is done, then it is sent to the other side. Okay, now when it reaches the firewall again decrypts the packet and then send it across to maybe whatever the server that you are trying to access. Okay, now IPsec, if since we are having a user over here, we are basically using a FortiClient. Okay, and FortiClient is a software which is using the IPSec technology. So do not get confused that how is user encrypting the traffic. Tell me honestly, did anybody had this thought in your mind? How the user is encrypting the traffic? Hmm. Right. So see, this is what I'm trying to say, that nowadays you guys have softwares, right? You have Cisco AnyConnect, you have FortiClient, okay? So these softwares are basically doing the job of encryption and authentication, integrity for you. Okay, so these software does this job, encrypts the traffic, send it across. Okay, so IP packets are encapsulated within the IPsec packets to form a secure tunnel. Yes, that's what we discussed. IP packet remains unaltered The header of the IPsec packet refers to the endpoints of the VPN tunnel. Yes. So the IP packet that you have, okay, the source and the destination of the IPsec will not be changed, okay, because that will be you cannot change it, because if you're changing it, then it will not be an IPsec packet. Now there's one thing which is called as security association. Okay. Now security association, what it does is um, it's like small, it's like one big tunnel, and inside one big tunnel you have something which is called as a small tunnel. Small tunnel is for either you send the traffic or you receive the traffic. Okay, so for that you have this security association. Okay, do you see this? There are two arrows, one is for receiving, one is for sending. That's what it is. Your security associations. Security associations is like the mini tunnel inside the huge, the bigger tunnel. Okay, one is being used to send the traffic, one is used for receiving the traffic. Okay, security association, again, definition. Security association defines the bundle of algorithms and parameters being used to encrypt and authenticate one directional data flow. Okay, so to make it simple enough, basically whenever you are sending the traffic, if the traffic is going through the IPsec VPN, okay, it has to get encrypted. If you are encrypting the traffic, it has to use some algorithms, right? Now remember, the in the last session we discussed that there was something which is called as asymmetric encryption and symmetric encryption. What are those? Those are algorithms, right? So to give this into a one-liner, security association defines bundle of algorithms, parameters being used to encrypt and authenticate one directional flow. Okay, just for sending the traffic or receiving the traffic. Okay, now agreement between the two computers about the way the data will be exchanged and protected. Okay, so basically whatever info, it's like the SSL handshake. Remember that client hello is being sent across, okay, with bundles of security suits, and the server has to choose that which one is best. Same happens over here as well. IKE key exchange. Okay. Now see, whenever we are talking about IKE, we discussed this in the last session as well. That IKE is basically a combination of couple of protocols, ISKME, Oakley, and ISACM, right? Now what happens is that um, let me hold on.
Guys, 1 second. Let me. I think there's some problem. Hold on.
Okay, so whenever we are talking about the security association, and as I said, that you have a big tunnel, okay, and inside that big tunnel you have two small mini tunnels, one for sending the traffic, one for receiving the traffic. Now when I say this, what I mean is, when you're sending the traffic, okay, you are encrypting it, okay, the other side will decrypt the traffic. This is what I mean. Okay, and let me show you. Hold on. See, let's say for example, this is to send the traffic, and this one is to receive. Sorry, so let me. Okay, you. So your end send, this guy end receive. Just you know, trying to understand this. From your end, this security association end, this security association end for you is the sending traffic. For the FortiGate, this security association end is for receiving the traffic. Okay, this is, let's say, SA1. Okay, now let's say this is SA2, this guy. Okay, for the FortiGate, this is send, and this over here for you, it is receive. Is it clear, all of you? Okay, so these two mini tunnels, okay, in phase one, okay, in phase one is basically used to send the traffic and receive the traffic. If for your side it is send, for the FortiGate side it is receive. For the FortiGate side, if it is send, then for your side it is received. So how many tunnels you have? One over here and second over here. Yes. Now in this particular section, what is happening is that when you're sending the traffic, will you send the traffic without encryption or with encryption? You tell me that. You will encrypt the traffic, right? Now when the traffic is being sent from your location, from this side, it is being received over here. Will the FortiGate encrypt the traffic or will it decrypt the traffic? You tell me. It will decrypt the traffic. Just give me a yes or no in the chat box if you are able to follow this. Otherwise, I'll repeat, no problem. Okay. Ranjit, how about you? Good, good. Okay, so see, this is why I say that there are two security associations. Okay, so it's like this. You have a big tunnel. Okay, inside this big tunnel, you have smaller tunnels. One for sending, and another one for receiving. Okay, that's what I mean. Now, IKE, as we know that in phase one, the internet key exchange, right? Remember that this we used to talk about that this is called as asymmetric. Yes, and there is a public key and there is a private key. Now we all know when why the public key is used, encryption. Why the private key is used, decryption. Yes. Now phase 2, tunnel is up. Okay, when the tunnel is up, then what happens is that your transaction of the security association happens, and the traffic basically goes through inside the tunnel. Okay. Now phase 1 authenticates the parties involved and sets up a secure channel to enable the key exchange. See, a lot of time what happens is that a question comes up as that why do we need two phases? Why do we need phase 1 and phase 2? What's the point and what's the reason and functionality for that? See, what happens is, as I said, and it is mentioned over here as well, that phase 1 authenticates the parties involved. Now you can see over here that I mean there's just one guy, and the other side you have the resources, but you have a FortiGate firewall in between. So the authentication needs to take place between these two people. Okay, the user will go and authenticate itself with the username and password so that it can identify that okay, a legitimate user is coming and nobody else. Okay, and once the legitimate user is coming up, then it will enable the secure channel, or it will create the tunnel. Otherwise it will not create the tunnel. Phase 2 negotiates the IPSec parameters to define the IPSec tunnel. What this basically means is that when you are having the phase 1 is all about it's like raw materials. What raw materials you need to create the tunnel? Okay, now what are those raw materials? We'll talk about that as well. So but then phase 1 is all about raw materials, and phase 2 is you build up the tunnel with the help of that raw material. So when I say build up, what I mean is you create the tunnel. Your tunnel is formed. Okay, once the tunnel is formed, then data basically gets forwarded between the devices. Okay, but phase 1 is all about raw material, exchanging the information, encryption information, what kind of security parameters will be used. All these things is handled by phase 1. Okay, that's why you need two phases. One, just to make sure that the raw materials are exchanged, and it is exchanged in such a manner so that even if it is being checked by somebody on the internet, it won't hamper the security. Phase 2 is that once you got the raw material, you will create the tunnel on your side, the firewall will create the tunnel on his side, and once the tunnel is found on both the sides, you will be able to use that. Is this clear, all of you? Yes or no? Why do we need phase 1? Why do we need phase 2? Okay. Now let's understand that what does the phase 1 do? Okay, so it says authenticates and protects the parties involved in IPsec transaction. Okay, now whenever we are talking about the IPsec, okay, we always know that there are all they have to have two people. Now when I say two people, it could be okay. Now let's say the traffic gets initiated by HQ. This guy, HQ initiates the traffic. Whenever somebody initiates the traffic, what will you call that guy? Initiator. Okay, now once the traffic gets initiated, it will basically reach the other side. Yes, when it reaches the other side, okay, who is receiving the traffic? This guy. Yeah, so the firewall has to respond. So whenever somebody responds, what do you call it? Responder. Okay, so initiator and responder, just remember these two words, because when it comes to VPN, a lot of time these two words are being used. Okay, so initiator is the one who always initiates the traffic. Responder is the one who responds to the traffic or the data or the VPN tunnel. Okay, now is it always has to be the HQ? No, it can also be done from the branch. Okay, so initiator and responder is not too strict static thing. It can be done by anybody. Okay, now it says authenticates and protects the parties involved in IPsec transaction. See, what happens is that when the phase 1 is being initiated or it is being exchanged, this firewall has a unique ID. This firewall also has a unique ID. Okay, so authentication takes place to ensure that you are talking to the right FortiGate firewall or you are talking to the right firewall. That's why the authentication is required. Hence, authentication protects the parties involved in the IPsec transaction. Is this much clear? Can use pre-exchanged keys or digital certificates. So, asymmetric encryption. Okay. Negotiates a matching SA policy between the computer to protect the exchange. Hmm. A little, a little tricky. So what this basically means is when it says negotiates matching SA, what is SA? Security association, right? So security association has to have certain parameters. Okay, certain parameters. I call them haggle. H-A-G-L-E. Haggle. Okay. What is haggle? Glad that you asked. Okay. Please write this down. Okay. Hash, authentication, group, lifetime encryption. Okay. Now, what it is and who does this? All these things. See, hashing is a protocol which is called as MD5. Okay. And authentication is basically groups, DH groups, Diffie-Hellman groups. Okay. Now, what is Diffie-Hellman groups? Diffie-Hellman is basically, um, you remember the asymmetric encryption? Yes. So the asymmetry encryption is, with the help of DH algorithm. DH algorithm is Diffie-Hellman algorithm. Okay, so we all know that there is a public key and there is a private key, and these get exchanged to finally come to a key which is asymmetric in nature, right? So DL algorithms work on with the help of public and private keys. Now DH algorithm has certain groups. Groups basically means you have 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 13, 17, 21, 53, and so many more. Okay, I do not remember all of them. Point is, this is the weakest, and whatever the number values goes up, okay, that will be the strongest. Weakest and strongest in which perspective? In what sense? See, what happens is a lot of times 21 is the maximum. So 21, group number 21 is basically used the most. What basically it means is that the public key that you will use and the private key that you are going to use, it will be a very lengthier and a complex public key. See, for example, if you want to set up a password for your, you know, for your some private data, if you want to set a password, how easy would that be? What you might do is you will use some, let's say a small b, bigger c, then a dollar, okay, at the rate, let's say 275. Isn't this complex? It doesn't make any sense. It is all random numbers, okay, and all of them are using some different type of characters. You have an uppercase, lowercase, you have a special characters, then numeric, okay. So all of them basically makes it complex. Complex means stronger. Are you guys able to follow me? Yes or no? Okay. So the group, as the number increases, its complexity increases. As the complexity increases, it becomes more and more stronger. So the public keys and the private keys that are used, these will be the public key or the private key used. So that key value will be a complex value. Okay, the more the complex value, the stronger it is. Stronger it is, it will be difficult for anybody to crack that. Okay, so that's why the DH group is very important whenever you are negotiating the keys. Okay, so that's why you have this asymmetric key nature to use groups, and higher the group the better it is. But then also, higher the group also means this, it will be more CPU intensive. Okay, if you're using a highest group, it will consume a lot of your CPU. Are you able to follow me? Yes or no? Okay. Good. Okay, so that's what we are talking about. Performs the Diffie-Hellman exchange. The keys derived from this exchange are used in phase two. Yes. So as I said, phase two is all about raw materials, and phase two is about constructing the terminal. Okay. So the keys which are used in phase one will help you to arrive at a symmetric key. Okay, and that symmetric key will be used at phase two. Set up a secure channel, negotiate phase two parameters. Yes. So phase one is all that. That's it. Two modes: main mode, encryption mode. Let's talk about main mode. See, they're also talking about initiator and responder. You see this? Yeah. So just by looking at this, I know that okay, this guy will initiate the traffic, not the firewall. What happens is the first packet which goes, it is the SA proposal. So proposal, it's not I love you. It's basically saying, hey, you know what? I use encryption of 128 bits. You know what? I use a DH algorithm of 21 group. Okay, I use this, that, all the haggles, hashing, authentication, group, lifetime, and encryption. Hey, I forgot to tell you encryption. Hold on, quickly. HAGLE. Yeah. Hash is MD5. Authentication is public key. Sorry, uh, you call it as, the technical term is shared secret. Shared secret means that you are using some random value, some random word that will be configured over here as well as over here. That is shared secret. Group we just talked about with the help of DH algorithm. Lifetime is 3600 seconds, which is about 60 minutes. You can of course change this as per your demand. Then we have encryption. So you have DES. It's a cipher suite or an encryption suite which helps the plain text to become a cipher text. Do you all know this? Encryption is converting the plain text to cipher text. What is cipher text? Cipher text is not in human readable format. Are you guys all aware of this, right? Plain text is human readable format. Okay, txt file, mp3 file, audio file, video file, all these things. Okay, cipher text is not or non-human readable format, meaning alphanumeric, hexagonal values. All these are basically not understood by us, but they are basically understood by the devices. Binary is what comes over here. Every value, every data, everything that gets converted, it gets converted to binary. So we cannot understand this, but the systems can. Okay, clear all this, all of you? Yes. Now the SA proposal I was talking about, that the what happens is that the SA proposal is all about initiator telling the firewall or or the responder that I can support encryption of DES, 3 DES, AES. So let's say there are 10 cipher suits it supports, 4 kind of hashing algorithm it supports, 3 kind of authentication it supports. So all these things initiator is going to send across to the responder. All right, now what will happen is that once this information is being sent across, yeah, so now the responder is going to select any one of them. So it's like giving you options, 4 5 options, and out of those 4 5 options you are going to select any one of them which makes sense to you from the firewall perspective. Now the third packet is about the key data for the initiator. Key data basically means that I'll basically send some random value, some random data, okay, with the help of information that you selected, the firewall. Remember in the second packet, it was sending the proposal which the firewall selected, right? So now initiator using that selected data, generating some random values and then sending it across to the responder. Now responder will also do the same thing. Now the responder know that okay, I have selected AES, I have selected group 21, I have selected MD5. So the system, the initiator is also using the same, responder is also using the same. Initiator is using the algorithm to generate some value, responder is also using the algorithm to generate the value. So the third and fourth is all about generating the keys. Fifth is encrypted ID and hash. See, I it's not mentioned over here, but once the fifth packet is being, you know, once the fifth packet is sent across, okay, the tunnel is established. Please remember, it is also asked in an interview, when does the encryption tunnel starts, or when does the tunnel is formed? Is it on phase 1 or phase 2? Technical answer is message 5 data is encrypted. In main mode, message 5 data gets encrypted. Please make sure of this. Now the responder also sends the encrypted ID and the hash. Okay, hash is just to tell the the other party that the data that you are sending, it is not tampered. That's it. Okay, so but then make sure that on fifth and sixth your tunnel is up. Okay, please remember that. All right, so now you can see the bidirectional security association created. Okay, so the bidirectional security association gets created only on phase 1. Please remember, only on phase 1 you have a security association which is called as bidirectional. Bidirectional means the same tunnel will be used for sending the traffic, same tunnel will be used for receiving the traffic. Clear all of you? Yes or no? Now aggressive mode. This guy is like this guy. See, main mode was more like a TCP. Remember, have you noticed this? It's like sending the traffic, giving a response, sending the traffic, giving a response, sending the traffic, giving the response. So 6 messages. Yeah. Aggressive mode is like a UDP. I do not really care. I'll just throw the information to you. Okay. Why? Because aggressive mode is just 3 packets. That's it. Okay. So what happens is, in the when the sender is sending the data, or the initiator is sending the data, okay, to negotiate the tunnel, okay, it will sell the SA proposal, meaning whatever it supports. It will also send the key data, it will also send the initiator ID, everything. Okay, the responder will also do the same thing. In just one packet it will send all these things: the proposal which is chosen, the key data for the responder, and the IDs. Third message is just more like like an acknowledgement that I have received the packet, and you know what? Let's start the hashing process. Let's just make sure that whatever the data that now I'm going to send, it will be hashed, it will be encrypted. That's it. Okay. Now, phase one. Please remember that you always have security association which is bidirectional in nature. So in aggressive mode, fewer exchanges are made between the initiator and the receiver. Now a question comes up, why do I use aggressive and why do I use main mode? Have you ever faced this question? When main mode, when aggressive mode? Okay, so aggressive mode is when you are trying to um, Okay, I'm getting some answers. Okay, so what happens is that aggressive mode is used when you are in a safe and secure place, or probably I should say in your company's organization, and you have to connect to a VPN tunnel, which has to be which is I mean, let's say for example you have a file server which has some sensitive information. You cannot access it just like that. If you want to access that, you have to use a VPN. Okay, in that case aggressive mode is safer choice to go. Why? Because it is, first of all, it is quick. Okay, and it does not go through the the messages. It is just three messages, and it just forwards the traffic. That's it. Since you are already in a corporate environment, okay, safety and security is already there. So with aggressive mode you can take that chance. Okay, but never use the aggressive mode if you are maybe somewhere in the cafe, somewhere out there in the internet, okay, or maybe a public space. Never use aggressive mode, because this will hamper your chances of being attacked. Okay, so never use aggressive mode if you are outside. Use the aggressive mode if you are maybe in the company's organization, then only. Okay, so this is the best analogy. Okay, never use it on the public spaces. Only if you are in the organization space, use it then. Okay, because in aggressive mode you are just sending all the data, all the information just like that. Okay, so there is no security as such. All right, and this will create issues. So when you have to make sure that if you're using aggressive mode, you're using it in an organizational space, not in the public or a public space. If you are in a public space, main mode is the one that you should be going for. Okay, main mode, yeah, just to complete the answer as well. Main mode is used for if you want to make a connection between two sites, two static locations. In most of the cases, I'm not saying every time. Okay, because that is how IPSec VPN came into the picture. Okay, but nowadays we are into a hybrid model where even if you are a remote PC or a remote user, you can download the Cisco AnyConnect, you can download the Forti client, and you can create an IPSec VPN tunnel with main mode and just roam about everywhere. You can do that. Okay, so main mode is required if you are into a public space, or main mode is basically when you are in a public space, use main mode. If you are if you want to use aggressive mode, make sure that you are in a safe place, which is mostly a organizational space, and then only you can go for the aggressive mode. Because initially I used to tell that if you are going into remote locations, then aggressive mode is a better choice, because that time the technology was not advanced enough. But nowadays you can just have a software and you will be able to use main mode and aggressive mode as per your choice. Okay, so So in aggressive mode, fewer exchanges are made between the initiator and the receiver. The first two exchanges negotiate the policy and key information. The first packet in the exchange contains the identity and is sent in the clear. Yes. So as I said, that if you are using aggressive mode, just make sure that you are already in an organizational space. Okay, not in a public medium. Okay. Now it also says that aggressive mode is used when one end of the VPN connection is using a dynamic IP address. Okay. Yes, true, technically, but to be very honest, nowadays you do not go for such kind of implementations or setup. It is mostly VPN setup with the main mode. And if in case you have to go for such setup, then you have to make sure that your safety and security is taken care first before you go with the dynamic IP. Okay, all right. Now exactly what we discussed, right? The haggle. So pre-shared key, okay? In the Haggle, the authentication is by pre-shared keys, okay? Some word. So that pre-shared key you have to mention when you are configuring it. I'll show you this when we get into the lab. Now let's talk about what does the phase 2 does. So it negotiates the IPSec SA parameters and protect the existing IKE SA. So what it basically means is that once the security association is created on the phase 1, the next job is to create the two smaller tunnels, one for sending the traffic, one for receiving the traffic. Remember, that is what the IPSec SA is used to negotiate. Renegotiates the IPSec SA regularly to ensure security. Meaning is that if you want, this is called as PFS. PFS is Perfect Forward Security. Now, Perfect Forward Security is basically used if you want that whatever negotiation has happened on phase 1, okay, from that the DH algorithm point, if you want that to happen again because of security reasons, you can do it. Okay, so if you want to do that, you have to enable the PFS, Perfect Forward Security. Optionally, additional Diffie-Hellman exchange may be performed. That's what the PFS is. Perfect Forward Secrecy is all about exchanging the Diffie-Hellman again. It also happens in phase 1, which is more than sufficient, but if in case you want, you can do this on phase 2 as well. Okay, and there is just one mode which is called as quick mode. Now what is quick mode? So first is the SA proposal hash ID. So now the proposal and the hash and all these things, it's a little different as compared to phase 1. How is it different? See, over here, information which gets exchanged is more, it's more about what is the configuration, what is the resource that you're trying to access, what is the source IP, what is the destination IP, what are the ports, what are the services, all these things. So the proposal chosen hash ID. So you are going to go for the same process of encrypting the tunnels of the security association, but on phase 2. Hash for initiator. So again, hash for initiator is basically the same thing where you are just making sure that your data is encrypted and you're hashing it. Unidirectional security association created, right? Remember, the first one is the bigger tunnel. Once that is done, then the phase 2 is all about creating the two smaller tunnels, sending traffic, receiving traffic. Now let's move on to the practical of it. Okay, hold on, just give me 1 second. Is it because we changed something yesterday? Let me try. Hmm. Okay. Okay. One. So this is not. Hmm. Okay. And yeah, there you go. So this happens at times. So just disable, enable the virtual adapter, and it works. Okay. So let's start with the implementation and how to configure this. So I'm basically what I'm doing is um, in this topology, what we are going to do is we are going to use the FortiGate North and we are going to use the FortiGate East. Okay, we are going to create a tunnel between these two people. Okay, and once the tunnel gets created, then user PC2 will has to access the file server via the VPN tunnel. Okay, and vice versa. That's what the concept is all about. So we'll create the VPN tunnel between the north and the east. Okay. We have 192.168.171 and 32. Okay, and let's look over here and get system interface. We have 192.168.171 and 31. Okay. Okay, so the first thing that you need to do is you need to come to this particular location, which is called as the VPN. Okay. Now there's one over here which is called IPSec Tunnels, or you can use the IPSec Wizard. The IPSec Wizard, since you'll be doing this for the first time, I'll probably say I'll prefer you guys do this with the Wizard because it's easy and self-explanatory. So you'll be able to understand the concept first. Once you are able to understand this, then probably start with the IPSec Tunnel. Okay. How do you do this? So we are basically going with, let's look into the topology. I am on FortiGate North. I need to go to East. So North to East, right? So North to East. It's a side to side, yes. You can go with the hub and spoke, remote access, and custom as well. Okay. So, but for now we are using a side to side. What kind of NAT is? We do not have any NAT configuration, no NAT between the sites. Meaning, I'm not doing any kind of a NAT between these two places. Though I'm not changing the IP address. Okay. And the remote device is FortiGate, not a Cisco. Now it's asking for the IP address, but IP address of what? Remote device. Okay. So what is the remote device? 171.32. Okay. Oh, sorry. 171.32. Okay. See, automatically it understands that. Okay, I can reach it via the port one. So it is asking for the password. So let's say password is NSE4. All right, done. And says it has to be 6 characters. Okay. So let's say I'll just say password. Okay. Done. Next. Now it is asking for the local interface. Local interface to who? Which interface is he talking about? Okay. You are on FortiGate North, and in the FortiGate North you are saying the local interface. So if you look into the topology, if you are into the local, sorry, FortiGate North, which port do you think is the local port or the LAN port? Port 3, right? No, 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 it's not port 1. Local port, it's asking. Local interface, local subnet, LAN traffic, meaning from where the traffic will come. Okay, that's what it is asking. Port 3. Okay. Now you can add more if you want, because what happens is a lot of times, let's say, so for example, in this case, look over here, we have dev, we have prod, we have QA. You can do this, you can try this out. Okay, when you're creating the VPN from FortiGate East, add these guys as well, 192.168.33, 34, 35. Okay, try to add them as well. Okay, so it has the option, you can add more than one local subnet. Then it is asking for the remote subnet. Now again think, for the FortiGate North device, which subnet is the remote subnet? These people, right? So if these people have 192.168.30 network, that is my remote. Okay, so I have to mention this over here: 192.168.30.0/24. That's it. Now see, when you're using the wizard, okay, it will create all the relevant policies, all the routes automatically with the help of information that you have given. Okay, now look closely. It says I'll create a phase 1 interface. I'll name that Northeast. I'll create a local address group and I'll name it as Northeast local. Okay, self-explanatory. Then I'll create another one which is called as remote address group and I'll name it as Northeast remote. Okay, then I'll create a phase 2 interface and I'll say Northeast. I'll create a static route. I'll create a black hole route. A black hole is basically if the traffic does not matches it, it will go to black hole. Then I'll create a local to remote policy, which is LAN to WAN policy. Okay, which I'll say VPN north east local, because it is telling you that it is a VPN policy, so it starts with VPN. Then it is telling you the policy is for north to east and for the local traffic, meaning when the source is local, then that destination will be whatever the destination is, the traffic will go through the VPN. Then you have the remote to local policy where it is a VPN policy, it is a north to east policy and is for the remote location, meaning if the source is the remote and they are trying to access something, then is that clear all of you? Yes or no? Are you able to follow this? Is this much clear? See, I'll show you. Hold on. So I'll go into the static route. See, as of now, I haven't clicked on the create, right? It is not created, but it will be. So I have clicked on static routes. Do you see any routes over here? No, right? Now I'll show you what happens. Click create. Done, 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 done. All green. Okay. Now see, phase one interface, this is down. This is okay. This is absolutely fine because it will only come up when the traffic is going through it. Okay. By default, it will be down. So all of them are green. Yeah. Now let me show you. Nothing over here in the static routes, network interface, static routes, nothing at all. Now it says that I'll create a static route with the help of static, right? By the name of static. So let's see. As of now, do we have anything? No. Let's refresh. Let's see. There you go. Do you see this? North to east remote, north to east. Okay, black hole. So black hole is basically when you do not match any traffic, it will be a black hole. Once it matches the traffic, it will be over here. Now what matches what traffic it is matching? See, northeast, this is the destination address object. Look over here. Let's edit this up. Northeast remote. Look, 192.168.30.0. See, so it used the information which you mentioned and it has created the address object. Okay, and it is created by the VPN wizard. So if you go with the custom values, or if you want to create a custom VPN, then you have to create route, you have to create VPN policy. Okay, and then you have to create the VPN settings as well. So you have to do all those things manually. But over here, with the help of the VPN wizard, what you are doing is you are not doing this. The VPN wizard itself is basically creating all these things for you. Okay, so your VPN policy is getting created, your static route is getting created. Okay, I'll show you the policy as well. Okay, there you go. See, northeast to port 3, and port 3 to northeast. I haven't created it, it was not created before, it is just created. So I will expand this up. There you go, let me show you. Source is northeast remote. Why? Because the policy is for the traffic which is coming from the outside to the inside. So when the traffic is coming from the outside to the inside, what incoming interface you will have? VPN. Yes. And inside, right? So port 3. Are you able to follow me? Yes. No. Chat box. So source northeast remote. Okay. So the northeast basically the 190 to 168 range. Then the destination is local, so 172 range. Okay. Service is all. You can change if you want to. You can absolutely change this whatever you want. So if I say all ICMP, only ICMP will be allowed, nothing else. Okay. You can definitely go ahead and use the inspection profiles as well, which a lot of companies already do this. So I'll click on this. Now port 3 to northeast. So this is LAN to WAN. Again, I'll not say anything. Just understand. Try to see what is it that we're trying to look over here. Is it making sense to all of you? Just give me a yes or no in the chat box. Okay. Now I'll show you one more thing quickly. See, as of now, what we did was we created the VPN policies just on the FortiGate North. I haven't done this on the FortiGate East. Okay, let's do this. VPN, IPSec Wizard. Now this is East, right? FortiGate East. So East to North. Side to side, FortiGate and Cisco. Now guys, this does not mean that it only supports FortiGate and Cisco. It basically means that if you have a Cisco device, it will add. If you have some other device, you can go for custom. Okay, you can go for custom. For now, it is just mentioning Cisco over here. That does not mean you cannot do this with Palo Alto or Checkpoint. No, it does not mean that. You can definitely do it, but use custom. Okay, you can also do this with a router. You can also do this with a Windows machine. You can also do this with a Palo Alto, Checkpoint, anything. Okay, so do not get confused that it is only mentioning Cisco, so it does not support Palo or Checkpoint or some other firewall. Okay. Now we are in FortiGate East and it is asking for the remote device IP. Tell me what will be the IP? This guy, 131. Pre-set key is password. That is asking for the local interface. Now for me, I know local interface is 3. Yeah. But as of now, my local interface is not configured. I think let me see. FortiGate East. Admin show system interface 43. Yeah, it is not configured. See, so let's configure this quickly. You know how did I got to know? I selected port 3. It never meant it didn't auto populate. Okay, in FortiGate North it auto populated with 172.16 range. That's why I know this. So let's configure this IP address. Config system interface. Edit port 3. Set IP 192.168.30.1/4. Now access. Yes. Done. Okay. I'll do a back. I'll again go next, and I'll say port 1. See, it automatically comes up with 179. Now I'll see port 3. Huh, it's not coming up. Chalo, I'll do this again. IPSec wizard. Okay, so east to north. Next, IP address. Password. Next. See, there you go. That's what I was telling you. Remote subnet. Again, we know that this is 172.16.32.0/24. Okay, that's my FortiGate decide. Same stuff. It will create. As of now, it hasn't created it, but as soon as it does, all of them will be created. Okay. See. So we have two policies as well. Okay. Now let me quickly do one thing. I have to open up this file server, and let's configure this guy as well. IP 192.68.10. Done. Let's ping, and great, not pinging. Okay, let's see. Yeah, that's why dialog works. So copy oh, copy running config start. So this will make sure that this prompt is not coming. So let's try this again. There you go. See, makes sense. So basic connectivity we just pinged. Okay. Now come back. Now how many of you think this will work? If I go to PC2 or user PC2, what IP do I have? No IP. So let's configure first 172.16.32.32.5. Okay, pingable. Save. Okay. Now let's see whether this works for me or not. Okay, let's take a packet capture as well, right? So we know diagnostic for packet any CMP 0. Okay, so we go to user PC2. Okay, ping 192.168.30.10, right? There you go. Worked. Make sense, all of you? FortiGate is. Let's have a look. Packet east to north, 32.5 going to 32.10. Okay, request going, coming, going, coming, going, coming. Yep. Clear? Are you able to follow me, all of you? Now see this, port 3 to northeast policy already showing you that the data is being sent over, but the top one it says 0. Do you know why is this? Because the traffic has not been originated from the outside to inside. Shall we do this? We'll go to the file server and say ping 172.16.32.5. Thinkable? Yeah. Now again, I'll refresh and then you'll see over here traffic. There you go. See? Okay. Now, there has to be a better way to look for the VPN traffic, right? Let's go into the dashboard. Do you see IPSec? No. So let's add monitor and search for IPSec. We got this. Click on add dashboard, IPSec monitor. There you go. See? So we have a tunnel up and running northeast. Okay. The gateway is 32. All right. The incoming data and the outgoing data, you can see that as well. Phase 1 up, phase 2 up. Okay, so this is how you can see the information. Now let me see if I can show you. Now see over here you will be able to see that the progress of the IPSec phase 2, the phase 1, the installation, IPSec phase 2 test status, all of this information you will be able to see it over here. Okay, so this is just a way to understand that whether the tunnel is up and running or not. Okay. There you go. See, now over here you can also see that the source and the destination is being forwarded, but then over here look into the policy, right? So it's a VPN policy being taken out. Now let's understand if I have to see same information but from the CLI. How do I do that? So go to admin. Please write this command down. Get VPN IPSec tunnel sum summary. Okay, so this will basically tell you the information, but in a summarized way. That okay, there's a um, a VPN tunnel goes by the name of Northeast. That's the gateway. Whatever the selectors are, the traffic going in and out. Okay, but if you need some a little bit more details, then probably you say details. There you go. Look, same information, but then so much in granular format. So now you have northeast name. It's a route based VPN. Please remember that the in general or the normal VPN that we talk about or whatever we discuss, it's a normal route based VPN. Okay, there is a VPN which is called as policy based as well. Okay, what we are learning is route based. So the local gateway is 171.131, remote gateway is 132. Okay, and then you can see the packets in and out. Okay, so name of the tunnel, what is the source? This is the best way to understand what source and destination you have inside the VPN, because a lot of time what happens is that whenever you are working with the tunnels, so whenever you are working with the VPN, you have to make sure that your source and destination that you mention, it has to be correct. If it is not correct, most of the time your tunnel will not work for you. Okay, you can try this also on the firewall policy, the VPN firewall policy. Use a different segment. It will not work for you. Okay, so this is one. There is one more command which I want to show you. Right, so let me show you the debugging. If you want to debug this, how do you do this? First thing is, first of all, let me stop this. I'll bring this down, so I'm stopping the connection. Okay, there you go, done. Resetting the statistics for all the zeros. Okay, now please write this command down: diagnose debug application IKE -1. -1 is the maximum debugging level that you can get. Diagnose debug enable. Done. Now let's see what happens. User PC2, ping, and stop this quickly. I want to show you something. Look over here. See the amount of data that it gets transferred just by one single packet. Okay. Now let's understand what information is being exchanged. Look over here. Northeast. So I know that north to east one is being used. IPSec SA connect 171.131 to 132. Okay. Existing connection traffic triggered. Oh, it is using existing connection. Hold on. I have to clear off diagnosis system session. Okay, now that's fine. So, okay, let me do this again. Hmm? What happened? Okay, so now let me show with a different command. Okay, so it's deleted. Good. Diagnose debug app IKE 255. Debug. Okay, now let's try this again. Done. There you go. Look, now this time, do you see this proposal going? Proposal ID 1, protocol ID, IPSec ESP. See, by default, it is taking group 14. Okay, if you go for custom, you can select this. The default value is ESP-DES, encapsulation mode, authentication algorithm, ESP, okay, and incoming proposal. See, this is my proposal. I am sending. This is incoming proposal, coming one. Okay, so it says I am selecting this IPSec 14. So see, because I'm just sending one proposal. Now, because of evaluation license, I cannot send more than one. Okay, so the firewall is selecting what it is coming with. Okay, so it is selecting that compute DH shared secret request. Remember third message DH shared. Then schedule auto negotiate, replay protection. Replay protection is just to confirm that the traffic is actually the legitimate traffic. IPsec SA selector source one destination, source 172.16.32 and 30. Okay, so this is the fourth uh, type, or I should say, the messaging which is getting exchanged, where it is also sharing the information about what is your actual source and destination. Add IPsec SA. So now see, SA is done. IPsec SA security association created. The tunnel is created. The value is this. Do you know why you have two values? Remember, one for sending, one for receiving? That's what it is. IPsec SA decryption. So you have, these are the keys: decryption keys, encryption keys. Look over here: encryption SPI, encryption keys, decryption SPI, decryption key. Okay, added IPsec SA, HA send I key connection, add this sending SNMP tunnel uptrap. So this basically means that your traffic is negotiated, tunnel is done, and your VPN is up. Now I'll tell you, I'll give you an exercise. I want you guys to try this from your own. Okay, as I said again, no processed food. Try to make your own food, right? So what is the homework? Remember when we were creating the VPN, I used Wizard. Yes, you also do this. You also go for that, but this time let's say you are north to east. Oh, north to east. Okay, you go custom, click on custom, click on next. Now see, the all the values, you'll see all will be different. Okay, what I mean is you have to manually put everything. What is the static? I mean, is it a static or a dynamic IP, whatever it is? Then what IP? Remote gateway. So I know that remote gateway is, um, sorry, not this one. Uh, yeah, okay, 132. Now it says duplicate entry found. Do you know why? Because I already created one. That's fine. You delete this and then create one. Interface. Select port 1. Then NAT traversal. As of now, just ignore this. I'll tell you, okay? But at least do what I'm telling you right now. Next week, once we, again we'll go for a small discussion. I'll tell the NAT traversal. Keep alive, as in keep alive is basically when you want to make sure that your tunnel is up and running. So you use this, okay? DPD, leave it. Now look over here, pre-shared. You have to mention your password. So password. You can check it from here as well. See, okay. Now IKE version will use one, and it is main mode. And there you go, the encryption. So now see, you do not have to mention all of them. You just close this. Okay, just select one because you only have one des. Again, why? Evaluation license. Okay, can't make use of higher cipher suits, just one. Use this. Look over here how many you have: 1 2 5 14 15 16, 17, 18, 20, 21, 27, there you go, till 32. In evaluation license, till 32. In licensed version, you will have more. Okay, so you can select any one of them, which is fine. Okay, absolutely fine. Just make sure that whatever you have right now over here, you should have it on the other side as well. Now, lifetime is 86,400 seconds. That's a good number. Whatever minutes it is, maybe 24 hours, which I think. Okay, so again, look over here. You have XAuth disabled. You can, if you enable, if you have the client, Forti client, you can put in your username and password as well, but keep it disabled. Now see, selectors, local address, edit this, keep the values over here. Local address for the, so you will know 172.16.32.0/24. Okay, I'm just showing you how to do this. 192.168.30.0/24. Done. You can also select if it is a subnet or a IP address or a range or whatever it is. Okay. Click on this tick mark and it will be saved. Okay. So this is done, right? That's how you create the IPSec VPN, but custom. Okay. Everything you have to do it manually. Then once you do this, once you have completed this, then you have to come into the network part. You have to create a static route. Okay, just like we already have it, but in your case you delete it first, all of you, and then create a static route, then come into the firewall policy, then create a firewall policy, again two firewall policies, one from LAN to WAN and from WAN to LAN. WAN, not should I say, I should not say WAN, LAN to VPN and from VPN to LAN. Is this much clear, all of you? Are you able to follow this much? Okay, good. Now, guys, what I want is, um, I'm deliberately, giving you half processed information. Why? Because I want you guys to make sure you do this on your own. Because again, processed food, you will not do it. I know that. So please do this VPN part, which is absolutely important, and go with the one which we discussed today, the wizard one. And once the wizard is done, remove everything, delete everything, and then again do this, but from the custom level. Okay, so custom level will also give you a much more better understanding of how exactly the VPN is working for you. Okay, so hold on. Okay, so now that's it. Let me just quickly check if we have questions. Wow, that is brilliant. The amount of questions you asked today, wow, that's brilliant. Let me show you, hold on. So from here, starts with Kripa Sindhu and Nilesh, Shrikant, and Jitendra. Okay, all right. So let's start off one by one. And guys, you are unmuted. So if you wanna discuss, no problem. You can do that. Okay. So first one is any command is CLI you like to show the security association and FortiGate like show crypto. Yeah, we just saw that. Yeah, Kripa Sindhu, right? The commands that we used.
Yes, 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 sir. It's clear now.
Okay. Hold on, guys. Check your chat window. This is an article for VPN troubleshooting. So whatever command that I showed you today, right? Those commands are all mentioned over here as well. So go through it. It'll help you out. Nilesh, I think why two phases? This is answered. Yeah. Next is what is the best practice? HQ, you have multiply IPsec VPN, you should initiate the tunnel or the remote. See, it's not about who should initiate. It's like whoever has to access the resource, that guy will initiate. It is never about who will or who should.
So actually, I asked, suppose HQ have lots of tunnels, and from the remote office they are sending one tunnel. So on that case, what will be better? I mean, from HQ, should the tunnel be initiated, or from the remote office?
See, ideally, what happens is that HQ have the server farms in most of the cases,
Right.
or HQ has
Yes. Yes.
basically your file servers or web servers that needs to be accessed. So it is always the branches or your clients who creates the connection. So if you look from a majority perspective, it is always the client or the branch locations who create, initiate the connection to the VPN.
Okay. 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 Yeah. Clear.
Okay, now
So Rakshit,
The second.
if we have no traffic, the tunnel will go down if there is no LAN traffic.
No. 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 No.
no, there is a
No,
lifetime,
It will be
no.
right?
up.
We used. So that lifetime will keep the tunnel up. If that lifetime is expired, yes, your tunnel will be down.
Okay.
Okay, so
Sir,
in the
in the
case
case
of
of
side to
IPsec,
side VPN, yeah.
sir, in the case of IPsec, means after the lifetime, it will be automatically reinitiated, or it will be down.
See, there
I
is
think it will
a
be up.
what happens is that by default you have a live something which is called as something which is called as a hello packet, so it will keep the tunnel up from the session perspective, but if you want you can configure it to be turned down if after a certain time period. So for example, the lifetime, did you saw that? So it's 86,400. So that lifetime is that if in case the tunnel has exceeded that, okay, and there is no activity, nothing at all, then the tunnel will go down. But if there is activity in the VPN, it will keep on continuing. The lifetime is when there is no communication, nothing at all on the VPN, then it will turn
So
down. If there are still
in the
some
case of
communication happening,
yeah, in the
then
case of
yeah, go
SSL
ahead.
VPN, I think I've seen it, but in the IPsec, it's also there.
There
Side to
are
side.
options. Yes, you try this
Yes, sir.
out,
Please continue.
and you let me know. I, I,
Okay.
I do not
Okay. No.
want to give you a straight answer. Once you do the custom VPN, right? You'll
Yes.
get the answer.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So in the case of site-to-site VPN,
Please
symmetrical
ignore this
key
question,
is
sir.
used.
This question, please ignore.
Acha, okay. So now next question is, can I create the IPsec tunnel between the user machine having Cisco Internet and FortiGate firewall or IPsec tunnel? Yeah, definitely. As I said, you just need to have a software. If you have the software, you can create the tunnel. When tunnel is established, main mode and bidirectional communication is started, then what's the purpose of aggressive mode? Nilesh, is the answer? Got the answer? Or still uh, you have the
No, I
doubt?
mean, if you can elaborate, probably I have missed it.
So aggressive mode is basically used when you are already on a organization location and you are trying to connect to a different organization location. What I mean is aggressive mode basically sends all the data in plain text. Okay, so that is not reliable if you're using from a cafe. Let's say, for example, if you want to create a connection to your company, then would you use aggressive mode, because aggressive mode is all plain text, so not required or not recommended.
But
Main mode is much.
Rakshit, see, like, sorry to interrupt you.
Go ahead.
If I'm trying to connect my connect VPN from a cafe from a specific point, then I believe that would not be kind of site to site or IPsec VPN. That would be SSL VPN, right?
From where?
suppose I'm connecting VPN from a cafe, right? So that would be a SSL VPN, not a site-to-site IPsec VPN.
Not necessarily. Reason is that when you're connecting to the VPN, and if it is an IPsec VPN, you will not go through the web browser. You have to use the software. Okay, and in the software, you have to choose either you go with the main mode or you go with the aggressive mode.
Okay,
Not
I haven't seen that option. I mean, I'm using Pulse Secure one, but I haven't seen that option in.
let me see if I can show you. So you'll have to have this FortiClient first of all, software. Okay, you go into the remote section, yes, and over
Mhm.
here edit. Yeah, so let's edit. Yeah, there you go. So see, you have the SSL VPN part and then you have the IPsec VPN part. Okay, so you have to select the IPsec VPN. I cannot make any change. Hold on, can I add? Okay, so you need to select the IPsec VPN, give it a name, whatever description, whatever IP. Okay, and pre-shed. Okay, so this is advanced settings, VPN settings. Yeah, there you go. See this aggressive mode, main mode. So you have to choose over here
So
which mode you have to.
what is my understanding is IPsec VPN and site-to-site VPN both are same, right?
Yeah, yeah, both the same.
So
So
normally when we create a site-to-site VPN, we create between two sites like branch office headquarter, like you had given an example. Yeah.
yes, yeah. So it traditionally, or I should say, when this concept came into the picture, it was called site to site because it was always between two different locations. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
let's say branch to office or something like that, or maybe two between two states or two countries, something like that. So that's why the name was given site to site. But now, because of the advancement of technology, you can just have this particular software and use the IPsec VPN with main mode or aggressive mode or whatever mode that you want. Okay, it's just that
Okay.
now that restriction is not there, that the site to site is always between two locations. No, you can also use,
Actually,
I mean, a user can. Hmm.
sorry. Actually, I'm using the Pulse Secure VPN, and in Pulse Secure we do not have this option IPsec VPN. We have only SSL one.
I know Pulse Secure, I have worked on it for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they do not give that option. It's but they do have split tunneling on it. Pulse Secure is more, it's basically purely SSL VPN.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
So anyway, my point is that over here you have to select the options and then take up the decision. So that's why I say that never go with the aggressive mode.
okay. Got it. Thanks.
Sir, one question related to that. What is the means basic advantage of using IPsec for the remote users instead of SSL, or SSL is better, sir, for the remote user only? Means who is
SSL
using
is
his
also
laptop? Yeah.
SSL is like it's like having Alto, and IPsec is like having Creta. Both of them are cars. One is a little heavy and a little more performance, more speed, um, and one is will do the job for you basically. So SSL VPN will do the job for you. It is secure. It will give you the resource. But then again, remember yesterday when I was showing you, it was only giving you limited features. Couple of bookmarks, couple of web browser or book, something like that. That's it. But with IPsec VPN, I can connect to my office network and access anything for that matter. Encryption by the SSL can be attacked. If somebody wants, they can attack you with the SSL VPN. They can decrypt. But IPsec VPN is the most difficult um, technology to crack. So that's why IPsec VPN is preferred. But I'll not say it doesn't mean that you should not be using SSL. No, it's not like that. It's just that it is a little resource intensive, but 100% security. SSL VPN is less resource intensive, but let's say 70-80% security, which is sufficient enough. If you have just basic access, that's more than enough.
Sir,
Okay, sir.
sir, am I audible?
Yeah.
Just to add Nilesh, what exactly Nilesh said means if he's accessing something from cyber cafe, that will be the SSL VPN, right? We can say. But if I am accessing from my corporate laptop, my office resources, say for FortiClient or any kind Cisco any connect, that will be IPSec VPN.
Yes.
Is that correct? No? Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Means IP should be there. Means we give the IP of gateway whenever we are
Yeah.
configuring through the software.
Again,
Means
it's also the use case. So SSL VPN does not give you, the whole lot of freedom that you get with the IPsec, right? For example, let's say for example, take my laptop. This is a custom office laptop. Let's say I have an application which needs to have a layer 3 access. SSL VPN will not be able to give that 100%, but IPsec VPN will be able to. So if your resource usage is limited to accessing certain websites, certain resources on the company, SSL VPN is enough. But if you are a user who wants to access a lot of resource, or let's say you are a software engineer, needs a lot of applications, then a layer 3 IPsec VPN is a better option to go for. That's it.
Uh,
It's the is what matters.
Hi, Rakshit. Yeah, To add on to this thing, nowadays corporates are using Citrix and VMware. So, what type of this thing VPN does it fit? Because it just gives a URL of the Citrix, and we log into the Citrix, and from there uh, we have access to the resources that we require. So that would be the
Right.
IPsec.
That is also a good way to go. Again, it's for that, then you need to have a Citrix server, a server farm. So you have to have a good implementation of the Citrix in the company. Then you can go for that. VPN is a little, I should say, it's cost effective. It doesn't require much. Just make sure that you have a firewall in place, you have a software in place, connect the VPN, and then you have access to the company's resource. Whereas with the Citrix, it is a little complicated to set up, but it is also an efficient way of accessing the resources. And I should probably say a little better as compared to the VPN. But it requires some complicated setup on the company side.
sir,
You need to have
it's
Citrix servers. Citrix. I think there is I forgot. While I was working with Pulse Secure, I forgot. So there was some software which needs to be downloaded on your system, Citrix software,
Yeah,
and then
it
it
is the
used to
Citrix
work.
client, and then through the browser. So whatever the URL is published from the particular corporate, we just have to connect to that URL using any web browser, and it is
Yeah.
authenticated from there. So I just want to understand. So in this case, the VPN is not the thing. It uses a totally different technology, right?
But but
Absolutely.
but
It is
I
a
saw
totally different
generally
technology.
but but generally I saw when the Citrix is there, you have to connect to your office network first through VPN.
No,
I
yes,
didn't.
yes.
no,
Yes,
Sir,
we
I
we
can
can.
never
go
see.
directly from the internet also, because I'm
Okay.
using it.
Okay.
Yeah, even for me, it was the same. I did not have to use the VPN. Again, Citrix comes with a lot of options and permutations and combinations of how you can use that. You can have a VPN. See, having a VPN is an added layer of security. So what you are doing is you are first of all encrypting your whole traffic through the VPN, and then you are also doing a Citrix tunnel so that it is uh, adding a one additional layer of security. That is it.
Yes, sir, Citrix is for just for
If
privilege access management. They are controlling many things.
Hmm.
Means they don't allow you to copy paste option and all those things like that.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
and
It's a
gen,
privilege
gen
access management.
yeah, and generally
Just
used to connect to another client mostly as
yeah.
client network.
Again, whatever technology that you use, it depends on what kind of a use case that you have, and depending on that, you use that particular. So, for example, Citrix, right? This kind of mechanism that you have, its use case is different. IPsec use case is different. Okay, but if you are comparing from a security perspective, Then Citrix, again, it's a little complicated. If you want to give full access, you need to deploy softwares. And I think if I'm not wrong, although I'm not 100% sure, I do remember this. While I installed the Citrix software on the system, there was a Java file which got installed, which was acting as a proxy. So whatever I access on the browser, it was directly connecting to the Citrix server tunnel, and it was going through the tunnel through the to your company's resource. If I'm accessing something else, it will use my browser. That's it. So there was Citrix proxy, something like that, which I remember. I'm not really sure, but yes, implementation use case all depends. If you just want to access some resources on your network, IPsec VPN is the best. Doesn't require a lot of heck of a servers, implementations, nothing at all. But if you are going with the Citrix, it requires Citrix servers, it requires implementation, a different server, a different device configuration, a lot of things. So again, if you compare Citrix, it is little complex. VPN, it's simpler, but provides 100% security.
Yeah, but in the Citrix case also, there would be at the back end, they would be having some type of security equipment, right? So if not the, because there would be netting and the application, whatever they are publishing it. So there would be security devices behind the Citrix farm, right?
They do have Citrix Zen server, something like that. Zen
Okay.
server basically does all this job for you, where they have server farms, they implement so that when you have the Citrix application, you connect, it directly connects to the Zen server, and then from the Zen server you are able to access the resources.
He's talking about NetScaler, I believe, because Citrix NetScaler load balancer, where you have limited means ACL and all those things you can configure for security. And depending on license, you can configure DOS to attack the security also.
Okay. Okay. Got it.
Hmm. Different device, different ways of functioning. Okay, so responder selects highest value of proposal or the lowest value. Highest. It's always the highest. Um, okay. So total three tunnels is there: bidirectional, one bidirectional, purpose, and yes, true. Kripa Sindhu. Phase one bidirectional. Phase two unidirectional. Then can we force the FortiGate side to use only aggressive mode or main? Yeah, while configuring you can do that.
Sir,
For main mode aggressive mode means
hello.
we need to IPSec configuration. For main mode and aggressive mode means we need IPSec configuration for each mode. Mm, you just
Sir,
have to make sure that your configuration on both the sides has to be same. So if it is IPSec, both of them should be IPSec. Yeah, Vishal, tell me. Question? Okay. If we want shut unset the IPSec tunnel, what is the command? Um, you
hello.
get into the IPSec tunnel and just set it.
Am I audible, sir?
Uh,
I think I believe some.
yeah, tell
So
me.
this Kripa in this question, so total three tunnels. If we are using PFS, we can say four tunnels, right?
No,
If
still
but
three
for
tunnels.
forward see, no, the for data,
Is
okay,
it,
for data, okay, for data he has already calculated here.
it's still it's an additional exchange. That's it. But the tunnel remains the same. Can we restrict the IPsec tunnel bandwidth for different tunnels created with the HU? Restrict the tunnel bandwidth. You can do this with the help of something which is called as traffic shaping. So traffic shaping is a different policy, just like you create firewall policy, right? You create traffic shaping policy as well, and then you can apply it to the tunnel. So it will cap it up. So let's say if you have 1 GB, you can cap it up to 750 Mbps. You can do that. What is the difference between policy based and route based? Ah, good question. We'll talk about this next week because I want you to do the lab first, and then we'll talk about this. Okay, I'll put this as pending so that I remember. Okay, and Nilesh, do remind me next week. Um,
Okay.
how to identify and diagnose the problem in phase one. The same command that we use, remember, the diagnose debug IKE
Yes, yes,
and
yes, 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 yes. Got it.
okay. I think we have a little more. I'm so happy
Yeah.
listening, checking all these questions.
Sir, one pending question was there in the starting. I have asked that you said some scenario where the VPN tunnel means crashes after the upgradation from the version 5.6 to 6 point something. So that troubleshoot.
Can you repeat?
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah, can you
Am I
repeat?
audible? Yes, sir. Sir, at
Yes.
the starting of some other session, you said some scenario when the from the after the upgradation of the OS firmware from the 5.6 to 6 point something, the VPN tunnel somehow crashed and not working. So how to troubleshoot that scenario? On that time, you said that we will discuss it in VPN session.
Okay, so if you are upgrading to a different firmware and the VPN starts to crash, the first thing is
Yeah.
basically to check the release notes because a lot of time release notes tells you about whatever current issues you have with that particular firmware. So there are chances that upgrading to a different firmware can cause the device to basically get corrupt with the bug which it has. This is one situation. Another situation is that while upgrading, what happens is a lot of times, not every time, but there are chances that part of your configuration gets corrupted. Now, when the part of the configuration gets corrupted, what it does is it will stop functioning, or it will stop working, or it will just delete everything with respect to that particular feature that you are using. So if you are upgrading the device, or you upgraded the device and it is not working for you, there are chances that the configuration is corrupt. What you do is, in this case, that you do a factory, I mean, you once the upgrade is done, do
Yeah.
format of the configuration, then upload the configuration back again.
Okay.
This 90% this fixes the problem. 10%, if in case there was some, so third situation is that when you upgrade the device, um, so let's say you are on 5.6, you upgrade to
Yeah.
6.0, then 6.2, then 6.4, and now you're on 7.0. So you took about four upgrades, four interim upgrades. Every upgrade has a different command syntax for certain commands. What happens is,
Yes.
when you are upgrading the device, the FortiGate firewall is upgrading itself and also converting your current configuration to the latest configuration. Now,
Okay.
there are chances that when the firewall is doing this, conversion does not happen correctly. And let's say if there are four steps or five steps, okay, maybe one or two steps is left, and your setup will not work.
Okay.
So these are the three four situations where
Okay.
upgrading the device can cause issues, and these are the ones which are mostly the problem. Until unless there's certain changes that needs to be done, that is a different issue. But these are the
Okay.
major issues which can happen.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, Rajesh, you can do this. Try this out. You have a week, right? Um, Next week I would like to discuss the VPN once more, but it would be more like just like you guys have mentioned all these questions, right? I want you guys to put the questions, but more from a practical perspective. That I tried this and this happened. I tried this and this happened. I tried that and this happened. Not sure what is the reason behind it. So that's what I want. You can do this. It's very plain simple. Just try create two tunnels with the same destination. See if it is, first of all, whether it is allowing you to do it or not. First, second, if it is, then how is the behavior? Although I have given the answer because if you were seeing when I was showing you the custom VPN tunnel, I entered the destination, and as I entered the destination, same destination, it just it was not accepting the configuration. So if you have same destination, it will not work for you. Okay, so if you have same two endpoints, it won't work for you. But try again. I'll say try. Okay. All right. So guys, let me stop over here. Okay. I have another class in the next 40 minutes.
Rakshit sir, one one help I'm looking for. Like I have set up my lab now, but the Windows machine is I'm not able to start it on lab. So if you can share something, but I'll do my
Your
VPN.
key is it installed?
Not installed at Windows machine, and there was one file server you are using VPC. How can I add that one also?